This is Colin welcoming you to the 2130th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline, 1st of February 2018. The readers this week are Joan, Geoffrey, Kitty and Colin, with Robin on the controls. The editor was Phillip, and the production and distribution team is Alan and Phillip. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Bouillon, Harry Brewer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. The local news stories that we will be reading come from the Enfield Independent and the February edition of the EN magazine, and are their copyright. The events information has been collated by us from other sources. The lead story this week: all of our residents deserve to live in peace. Before the news, we have one or two special news items and notices. First, the sunrise and sunset times for the week beginning Monday the 5th of February are sunrise 07:34 and sunset at 16:55. Do get in touch with us to share your own news and special announcements. We love to hear from you. If you have any comments about the Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She is your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. Now, Joan will read the first item of local news.
All of our residents deserve to live in peace. Overwhelming public support for new police powers. A scheme that could see police giving additional powers to stop antisocial behaviour has received support. Enfield Council's public space protection orders, which will start in early spring, will help cut the amount of antisocial behaviour in the borough. Breaking a public space protection order will be a criminal offence, and perpetrators will be fined with a fixed penalty notice or face possible protection. Councillor Daniel Anderson, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Environment, said, "We have received overwhelming backing from residents for the proposed public space protection orders. Enfield is a truly fantastic place to live and work and play, and the law-abiding majority rightly expect to feel safe and secure when going about their daily business. Reducing antisocial behaviour will inevitably help build community cohesion, enhancing our already strong communities. In turn, a cleaner, greener and safer borough will attract growth and investment." Councillor Christine Poniyonga, Cabinet Member for Community Safety and Public Health, said, "The behaviours considered in the consultation were reported and raised by residents, councillors, the police and council officers. Respondents provided a great deal of information and many useful comments, which helped inform the public space protection orders. Their participation, together with that of the police, were invaluable, and for that we are immensely grateful." Councillor Ahmet Oykana, Cabinet Member for Housing, said, "All our residents deserve to live in peace and without fear of intimidation. The public space protection orders, which will be vigorously enforced, will improve our residents' quality of life and their well-being. The antisocial behaviours that have been targeted include control of vehicle cruising, prostitution, loitering, and flying drones."
The PSP NPO orders include also a number of other things: control of alcohol consumption, vehicle cruising, which includes speeding, driving in convoy, racing, performing stunts, sounding horns and revving engines, riding of mopeds causing distress, alarm or annoyance, and criminal damage. They also include holding or throwing fireworks to cause intimidation, persons loitering, causing nuisance, etc., in and around council estates, and intimidatory begging, possession, consumption, supply and use of legal highs are also included. Dog ownership and dog controls, including having disposable bags, and walking a maximum of 4 dogs at a time, or maybe up to 6 if licensed by the council. Also, in connection with dogs, there is the matter of the excluding of dogs from certain areas and playgrounds and keeping dogs on leads. On a different subject, there is smoking in children's playgrounds, and this does include smokeless and electronic cigarettes. Joan already mentioned flying of drones, but in addition to that, there is the question of motor vehicles left on council land or land adjoining the highway for an unreasonable period of time. Furthermore, there is also included the sale of goods to stationary vehicles at main road junctions.
We are using the space we have. 15 new homes built on disused sites are ready for families to move into. Enfield Council's 3-bedroom family homes and 1-bedroom bungalows at an Ordnance Road development include 2 fully wheelchair accessible properties. The last set of homes will be occupied from early next month. The 100% council housing project is part of Enfield's small site scheme, which aims to redevelop abandoned sites. The residential homes are the first Enfield Council has built in 30 years. Councillor Ahmet Oykner, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Housing and Housing Regeneration, said, "We're building strong communities. In common with most other London boroughs, Enfield has a rapidly growing population and a shortage of family homes for the people who desperately need them. We are pursuing a number of creative and effective ways of meeting the housing need in our borough, both through major regeneration projects, estate renewal, and working with landlords, but we can't afford to be complacent, and we need to continually find new ways of providing additional housing in Enfield. We are determined to increase the supply of family housing in Enfield, and the redevelopment of our smaller sites to provide council homes is an important complement to our larger regeneration schemes and means that we are using the space we have available in creative ways to meet our residents' needs."
Enfield Cancer Charity launches new premises. There was cause for celebration when the Nightingale Cancer Support Centre, Baker Street, Enfield, officially launched its new premises. At an event on Friday the 26th of January, guests were treated to a guided tour of the purpose-designed space and had the opportunity to speak with healthcare professionals in their dedicated counselling, lymphedema, consultation and therapy rooms. The Mayor of Enfield, Councillor Christine Hamilton, was on hand to cut the ribbon and said, "It is my pleasure to be here today to open this wonderful new site for the Nightingale Cancer Support Centre. It is superb that such a vibrant, enthusiastic team are behind this local support mechanism that does so much to help those in need and their carers and families. Former client and current volunteer Sue Abbs said, "When I had breast cancer 11 years ago, the Nightingale became a huge part of my life and recovery. Nothing compares to being able to chat to people going through the same experience." Andrew Bone, one of 3 founding trustees, said, "It is wonderful to have such support from the community, and we would not be here without them. With the increased space we now have, and therefore the diary time now available to us, we hope to increase our services from helping 600 people a year to over 1,000 people a year, and the aim is to achieve this within the next 3 years. Since the birth of the charity 15 years ago, the Nightingale had been sharing premises with several other charities at the Lancaster Centre, Enfield, limiting the amount of services they could provide."
Be a friend and help support the Talkies. Talkies Community Cinema is looking for friends. The volunteer-led, not-for-profit organisation is finding it challenging to attract funding from grants and sponsorship. Subscribing as a friend of Talkies would help the group continue to show films. Friends' money will also be used to help commission and support young filmmakers. Talkies has supported 18 filmmakers over the past 4 years. Friends have been extras and runners in these films, so there are various ways people can get involved. There have also been opportunities to visit BAFTA, Sands Studios, the Cinema Museum, and a summer barbecue. For further information about how to become a friend of Talkies Community Cinema, visit http://talkies.org.uk/talklessnews. Become a friend.
An article by Michael Bowden features a picture of a young lady called Clarabelle Coker White. She's 14 and she won the Enfield Regional Final of Jack Peachey's Speak Out Challenge, which was held at Winchmore School on Tuesday, January the 23rd. The St Anne's Catholic High School for Girls student is now in with a chance of going through to the grand final at the Cambridge Theatre in Covent Garden in July. Her topic was "Ignorance Isn't Bliss." Clarabelle said, "You may not think it, but your ability to do anything lies within you." The second prize went to Sean O'Brien, who's aged 15, and he goes to St Ignatius College. And he came up with a speech entitled "Potting the Problem." Katie Morades, who's 14, goes to Lee Valley High School, and she came third with a speech titled "The F Word." Joanna McCartney, Assembly Member for Enfield and Deputy Mayor of London, presented the awards. Joanna said, "It has been a privilege to be here today and to hear the wonderful words and ideas of the students. Over 680 Year 10 students from Enfield's state secondary schools were given public and communication training in a one-day workshop. The Jack Peachey Foundation funds the Speak Out Challenge, Speakers Trust, a UK public speaking charity.
We're sorry a number of guests were fined. A man who parked in a pub car park has had his fine for not registering his car at the bar rescinded. Jim MacDonald from Weston-super-Mare exhibits at the London Boat Show every year. When in London on previous visits, he has popped into the Toby Carvery on Great Cambridge Road in Enfield, and he did so again in January. On his most recent visit, he and his partner parked in the pub's car park before going inside for a drink. They were there for 59 minutes, according to the penalty charge notice sent from the contracted company Euro Car Parks a week later. Mr. MacDonald said he understands why parking restrictions have been implemented, but he wishes for greater awareness about parking, about payment. He said, "On receipt of the notice, I called the manager of the pub, who informed me that there were large illuminated signs outside and inside advertising this. In the dark and rain, we failed to notice. We have used this pub over the years, and I asked when the new procedure had come in. I was told it had come in within the last 3 months. After some quizzing as to who served me and how I paid for the drinks, he agreed to withdraw the notice. I then had to wait 4 days and call the automated telephone to confirm that this was actually done. My issue is that not everyone will contest such an official notice and would cough up to avoid being taken to court or having debt collection agencies follow up. Someone unsuspecting like ourselves that had previously used the pub and parked in the car park without issue would not expect to have to punch a number into a computer." A spokesman for Mitchells and Butler said, "In October last year, we made a decision to introduce a parking monitoring system at the Toby Carvery, Enfield, due to guests of the restaurant using the car park to visit nearby local establishments, meaning at times people intending to dine at the Toby Carvery couldn't, as the car park was already full. The new system asks guests visiting the Toby Carvery to enter their car registration into a tablet located in the restaurant, giving them 4 hours of free parking. We've installed multiple signs inside the restaurant and across the car park, informing guests of the new system. We're also encouraging our staff to make sure guests are fully aware of the new parking arrangements. We're sorry that a number of our guests have been issued fines. However, we're happy to waive these if they can show us proof that they dined with us. For any guests issued with fines, we ask them to get into contact directly with the restaurant so we can assist them further. Euro Car Parks has not responded to an inquiry regarding this matter."
This is a letter from Mr. B. Graff, headed "Roads are not a success." In reference to Councillor Daniel Anderson's comments in respect of the cycle lanes in last week's Enfield Independent, I cannot believe after all of this time that he can still be so positive about one of the most appalling schemes that Enfield Council can ever have been involved with. Throughout the consultation period, we were advised that there would be an increase in cyclists using the scheme once it was completed, and still it is an absolute rarity to see any cyclists on the cycle lanes. However, when the very occasional cyclist is spotted, they do not use the cycle lane intended and continue to cycle in the road, and sometimes just ignore it altogether and stay in the main flow of traffic. Meanwhile, many junctions along green lanes, which, let us not forget, is the main connection between our local shopping areas, are far more dangerous for pedestrians, cyclists and also road users. It is far more difficult for people to get into the few parking spaces that remain on the main roads, and if they decide to reverse into a space, then the whole traffic flow has to stop because the road has been narrowed to such an extent. Along major junctions, including the junction with Station Road and Green Lanes, at almost every traffic light change, there is nearly a collision with car users who are turning right from Farm Road because of the road markings, which are totally against the general rules, basically stopping any other car users who wish to travel across the junction. It really has become an absolute hodgepodge, which is really of no benefit to anybody, including the cyclists. Just imagine you are one of the many elderly people living in the borough and you want to shop at your local butcher or baker at Winchmore Hill Broadway. I do not think cycling would be your first choice of transport. Parking will now be more difficult because parking spaces have been removed. Flows of traffic generally have slowed down, and generally local shops will ultimately not be able to compete with the supermarkets, and the shopping parades will gradually wither and die. With an increasing ageing population in all local boroughs, has this element of society been taken into account? So, for Councillor Anderson to have the audacity to call this scheme a success is bewildering in the extreme.
Mr. Phil Murray has written about cyclists behaving badly. With reference to last week's article by Michael Bowden, Cyclists Call for Friendlier Streets, Enfield Independent, January the 24th, I was an all-weather cyclist and commuter, now retired, but still leisure cycling. Whilst agreeing with a lot of what the pressure group claims about motorists, they fail to comment on the equally poor behaviour of cyclists, jumping red lights, failing to give way to pedestrians on crossings, not displaying lights during darker periods of the day, not wearing crash hats or reflective clothing, riding on pavements, and more recently, riding up the wrong side of the new cycle lane. So let us have fair commentary in articles. Or, as my granny used to say, let those without sin cast the first stone.
As I go on reading some of these articles, I find I'm learning something all the time. And I've learnt today about green doctors. This is an article with a heading, Save Money and Keep Warm This Winter. And it refers to a free service from Enfield Council which could help eligible residents save hundreds of pounds and make their homes more energy efficient. Enfield offers residents a free visit from a fully trained green doctor. That's the title of the consultants. And the green doctors can help them save money on their energy bills. A range of energy-saving measures are available, including draft proofing, low-energy light bulbs, radiator panels and shower savers. The green doctors also offer free energy efficiency hints and tips to help find the cheapest gas and electricity suppliers. They can also make referrals to income maximisation services to ensure the residents claim all the benefits and grants to which they are entitled. Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Economic Regeneration and Business, Councillor Alice Sitkins, says, "We're committed to making sure residents are warm and well this winter, so we're urging people to check if they are eligible for free energy efficiency advice." The expert will help save our most vulnerable residents money, but more importantly, will help keep them well during the winter period. He goes on to say, we can help reduce health inequalities through effective partnership working and making sure our population stays out of hospital during this busiest time of the year. To book a free visit, please phone 0800 060 7567. This is a free phone, and I'll give you the number again, 0800 060 7567.
Have a laugh and raise cash. A comedy night is to be held in Winchmore Hill to raise funds for a hospice. Hassan Dervish of Enfield has organised the event at the King's Head pub on the Green for Thursday, March the 1st, starting at 8 p.m. Donations will be collected on the night for the Noah's Ark Hospice, which needs funds to complete the construction of a specialist children's hospice building. Comedians on the bill include Nicole Harris, who is a winner of the Jewish Comedian of the Year award. Also appearing will be Valerio Sara, Vivian Kay, So You Think You're Funny semi-finalist, Fiona Ridgewell, Comedy Nights and Leicester Square Comedian of the Year finalist, Will Robbins, Saban Kazim, the Comedy Cafe's new act winner, and Mickey Overman, Funny Women finalist and Leicester Square New Comedian of the Year finalist. Hassan will MC on the night. Visit www.thekingsheadn21.co.uk for further information.
And now for some sports news. A place in the last four of the Velocity Trophy was Enfield Town's target last night as they travelled to Metropolitan Police seeking to end a run of 5 games without a win. Following Saturday's 2-0 home defeat at the hands of Needham Market, Andy Leese strengthened his squad with the signing of striker Brad Watkins and midfielder Tyler Campbell, both of whom were available to feature at Imber Court. Watkins joined Slough Town from Chesham United in June 2017, having played for Hendon, St Albans City and Aylesbury, among other clubs, and the 24-year-old has been in the Towners manager's sights for some time. He is a player we know well and one who we tried to sign last summer, Lees told the club website. I have worked with Brad before and feel he is what we need at present, and looking forward to add some quality and goals to the team. He is a presence, technically good, quick, with an eye for all types of goal. Brad has missed a part of the season with injury, but he's raring to go, and I'm sure his all-action style will endear him to the fans. Campbell needs no introduction to Enfield fans and returns to the club on a dual registration from Hemel Hempstead Town. He last turned out in a Towners shirt at Dulwich Hamlet on April the 27th and will be looking to add to the 266 appearances he has made for the club to date. Lees said, "We did not want to lose him last summer, but he wanted to play at a higher standard, which we respected. He needs games now, and like Brad Watkins, is keen to get going in a Town shirt. Thanks to Hemel for allowing us to get the signing done." Town got off to a bad start on Saturday, conceding after just 12 minutes when the unmarked Adam Mills headed home an in-swinging corner at the near post. It was to get worse for the home side 7 minutes later when Joe Wright brought down Mills for a clear penalty, but the referee also decided to send the Enfield keeper off. Centre half Matt Mitchell-King took over between the posts, but he was sent the wrong way by Dan Morphew's spot kick. Town did well to protect their standing keeper for the remainder of the half and created some opportunities at the other end. Mitchell-King was able to keep his personal sheet as Needham opted to largely protect what they had after the break, encountering relatively few anxious moments.
Here is a little advice on how to wear fashion's latest favourite by Kelly Pells on How to Wear White. While black dresses may have been making the headlines over in the US as stars banded together at the Golden Globes in support of the Time's Up campaign, back home we've been seeing celebs kitted out stunningly in all-white ensembles. Here are 4 chic ways to wear white in winter. 1. Suits. Trouser suits have been making a massive comeback in fashion recently. Team, a long-line jacket with wide-leg trousers to give your look a relaxed feel. Add a pop of colour with crimson lipstick or bright court shoes. 2. Dresses. A white dress is the coolest way to do black tie right now. Sleek accessories and understated jewellery complete the look. 3. Coats. If you're not keen on a big overhaul, the best way to incorporate white is through outerwear. Not only will it keep you cosy, but as the ultimate neutral, it'll complement all your outfits. 4. Shoes. Dip your toe in the trend, literally, with some sharp white leather heels.
Well, Joan's just been giving some advice, some expert tips, and I've got some as well here. It's headed up Expert Tips on How to Keep Your Breath Minty Fresh. Let's face it, bad breath is easily one of the most off-putting hygiene issues. Handily, there are ways to stop bad breath in its tracks, and the article says that Henry Clover, who's the Chief Dental Officer at Simply Health, was asked to give some advice on keeping your mouth smelling minty fresh. And he says, practice perfect oral health. First and foremost, your oral health has a huge impact on the freshness of your mouth. Bacteria can build up in your mouth and release unpleasant gases, so make sure you are removing plaque, the white sticky deposit that collects on your teeth, by brushing your teeth for 2 minutes at least twice a day. Next item, see your dentist if brushing doesn't help bad breath, because bad breath could be a sign of an underlying health issue that your dentist should check out. Gum disease and other infections in the mouth can cause very bad breath. Henry goes on to say, kick the smoking habit. If you smoke, this can have a huge effect on the freshness of your breath as well as your oral health. Smoking stays on your breath for a long time, as well as on your hair and your clothes. It also increases your risk of gum disease. Another tip, stay hydrated. Cranking up the central heating system during the winter months can make mouth odours even more pungent. Staying hydrated is important as a dry mouth and lack of saliva can cause bad breath. When you have low levels of saliva, bacteria in the mouth can grow more easily and release odours. This is why you often notice bad breath first thing in the morning.
Public speakers prepare anniversary speeches. A public speaking group is celebrating its first birthday. Winchmore Hill Speakers is holding an open event to mark the occasion at the Winchmore Pub, Winchmore Hill Road, on Monday, February the 5th from 7:30. The group helps people improve their communication and leadership skills. Rossi Holt, president of the Winchmore Hill Speakers, said, "We are delighted to be able to invite members of the community to join our celebration. In the past year, our members have been able to develop their confidence, public speaking skills, and ability to encourage others. We hope our visitors will learn public speaking can be fun and can help in their everyday lives. Visit www.winchmorehillspeakers.org.uk.
Award-winning wines grown on our doorstep. 40 Hall Vineyard is a local award-winning, not-for-profit social enterprise and London's only commercial-scale vineyard. Situated on 10 acres of beautiful organic green space at 40 Hall Farm. The vines are planted over 2 south-facing fields buzzing with wildlife and with beautiful views that look to the City of London. It all began in 2009 with the first acre planted by over 100 volunteers. The vineyard was founded by Sarah Vaughan Roberts in partnership with Capel Manor College. The idea combines Sarah's interest in horticulture and wine with her passionate desire to enable others to experience the social and therapeutic benefits of outdoor activity. The project is led and managed by a close-knit group of passionate and dedicated local volunteers who work tirelessly and enthusiastically year-round, come rain or shine, to maintain and nurture over 14,500 vines. Working alongside the volunteers, our trained ecotherapists provide a listening ear if needed. The services are enjoyed by a wide range of people, including retired professionals, young people, adults with learning difficulty, and others living in the local community, all working side by side. We believe that everyone can benefit from a bit of ecotherapy. All of the vines and wines are certified as organic by the Soil Association, and they are gradually introducing biodynamic vineyard management. The wines are vegan to boot. The grapes are grown naturally with as little intervention as possible so that the wine produced from these grapes best reflects the terroir, the unique characteristics of the place, the soil and its microclimate. 40 Hall Vineyard worked with the extremely talented winemaker Will Davenport, who runs Davenport Vineyards in Kent. He's passionate about making organic wine. In 2014, he was awarded a gold medal for Most Outstanding Sparkling Wine in the English Wine Awards. Using modern equipment but traditional methods, following strict organic principles, he leaves the grapes to speak for themselves.
A Holocaust survivor spoke at Enfield Council's Holocaust Memorial Day event. Gerald Granston, who escaped Nazi Germany in 1939 on board the SS St. Louis, was joined by Christine Weil and Valerie Darville of the Enfield Poets at the Dugdale Centre on Thursday, January the 25th. The official date for Holocaust Memorial Day is Saturday, January the 27th. Mr. Granston was awarded a British Empire Medal in the New Year's Honours List for his services to Holocaust education. Also speaking at the commemorative service were Councillor Yasemin Brett, Cabinet Member for Community, Arts and Culture, and Rabbi Yuvai Keren from the Southgate Progressive Synagogue. This year's theme was The Power of Words. Councillor Doug Taylor, the leader of Enfield Council, said, Holocaust Memorial Day serves as a reminder of some of the darkest and most heinous acts in human history, and as a warning that we must never forget the lessons of the past, lest we relive those terrible times in the future. We want to build a strong, coherent community built on mutual trust, support, and understanding. Holocaust Memorial Day is a valuable way of reminding us that we must be permanently vigilant and outspoken against the voices of hate, division, and intolerance, and that we must take swift action to tackle bigotry and prejudice whenever it appears.
We seem to have moved back to some news items, and I have an item here which says Preview Eurovision Hopefuls, and it's subtitled Enfield Singer Will Compete for Place in the Show. Enfield-born singer Helen Krupp is set to compete among 6 other acts in BBC's You Decide. Contestants are battling it out to win the coveted prize of representing the UK in this year's Eurovision Song Contest, and the article includes 3 pictures of various young ladies. Helen grew up in Enfield and went to Edmonton County School, as well as the dance school's Suella School of Performing Arts and also the North London Dance Studio. She frequently has performed at the Millfield Theatre in many pantomimes alongside various TV celebrities. Helen's first big break came when she successfully auditioned for the BBC series I Dream. Playing a lead role in a show that involved acting, singing and dancing, it was, as she says, her ideal job. The show also featured the pop group S Club Juniors from here, and Helen went on to perform in various musicals, including Daddy Cool, Dancing in the Streets and Dirty Dancing. Helen is competing in girl group Goldstones alongside her bandmates Amy Atkinson and Rianne Porter, and she hopes to take the prize and sing for the UK in Lisbon this May. Hosted by Mel Gildroyer and winner of the Eurovision Song Contest in 2015, Mans Zelmuma, the 90-minute UK selection show, will be broadcast live on BBC Two on February the 7th at 7:30 from the world-famous Brighton Dome, the site of ABBA's 1974 Eurovision Song Contest win with Waterloo. And the TV show will feature performances by the 6 competing acts before the show opens.
A letter from Dr. Linda Miller of Raleigh Road in Enfield. Safer and greener. Councillor Daniel Anderson, Greener Environment, January 24th, responded to criticisms of the A105 cycle lane scheme by saying this massive external investment from TfL has allowed him to transform this key urban corridor and create a safer and greener environment for everyone, and that everyone will be grateful for the actions that he and the Labour group are taking. Safer? Perhaps Councillor Anderson should try telling that to the many people injured after tripping on the Orca and Armadillo cycle lane separators, such as the man who broke his shoulder in December near St Monica's Church, or the woman who tripped and fell onto the A105 by the Sainsbury's local, ending up in the front of a bus that mercifully managed to stop before it hit her, or the man whose hearing aid was broken after he tripped and fell in Winchmore Hill. Many residents are now seeking compensation from the council for injuries caused by these trip hazards that were identified in the risk analysis for the scheme, but which LBE chose to ignore. And greener? The bus boarders have narrowed the road, turning buses into rolling roadblocks, holding up all the other traffic behind them. It's an inconvenient truth that motor vehicles pollute most when they are starting off, stationary, or braking, meaning that pollution has increased, not decreased, as pointed out by Mr. Carlton the previous week, but denied by Councillor Anderson. And grateful? Let's hope residents will remember just how grateful they are for these improvements when they vote in the local elections later this year. Last week, the Independent published the link to the manifesto of Better Streets of Enfield, the group that supports Councillor Anderson's improvements. Perhaps this week you would be so kind as to publish the web address at which residents should report accidents caused by the cycle lanes: consultations-traffic-and-transportation/incident-reporting/ and the address to contact to make injury claims is insurance@enfield.gov.uk.
Another item of sports news. Ignatians upset the form book. It had the potential to be a jittery month for Enfield Ignatians. Instead, January ended on a jubilant note after they made it 2 wins out of 3 by turning the form book on its head to beat third-placed Harpenden 14-7 in London 2 Northwest. It was quite a turnaround, as Ignatians had been humbled 71-0 by the same opponents earlier in the season. However, Enfield, having begun the month with a win against Hemel Hempstead before pushing league leaders HAC hard, have come a long way since. Harpenden made the first breakthrough when their number 8 forced his way over from a 5-metre scrum following a couple of errors by the hosts. Fly half Ollie Mann added the extras, but it was the only time that Ignatians' defence was to be breached. The equalising score came approaching the hour mark after Ignatians won a line-out close to the Harps 22. After a maul took play to within 10 metres of the line, Ignatians laid siege, and eventually eagle-eyed fly half Jake Bates spotted a gap and dummied his way over. Harpenden reverted to attacking mode, but their opponents held firm, and when Dave Gear made a crucial steal in the tackle area, the ensuing kick chase saw Enfield force a line-out 25 metres from the line. Opting for a Route 1 assault, Ignatians' mixture of patience, power and outright attrition was eventually rewarded when Bates completed his brace from close quarters. Harpenden again came calling by mounting repeated attacks in the last 15 minutes. However, Ignatians defended superbly to help complete a memorable win.
We have some aspiring authors in Enfield. Children and aspiring authors were inspired to put pen to paper during Enfield's first ever literary festival. People flocked to the borough to give insight into their world and encourage people to join the wealth of local literary talent. It gave them the chance to find their writing skills and ask questions during the series of talks and workshops. It is the brainchild of Martin Russo, founder and editor of N2 for Enfield, a new website rejoicing in all that is cultural in North London. Amongst those attending were Hackney-born author and screenwriter Catherine Johnson and children's author Alex Wolfe from Palmer's Green. Mr. Russo said, "I was delighted to get the funding from the Arts Council to support this Enfield literary project. To have the combination of going into schools and being in Edmonton Green Library has been a great way to start to develop the engagement around writing, literature and reading." Head of Culture at Enfield Council, Paul Everett, said, "Enfield has extraordinary festivals because of the extraordinary local people here who make things happen, and Martin Russo is one of those extraordinary people. We're so lucky that he started a literary festival, which we so desperately needed." Plans for Enfield literary festivals are in the making for April and June this year and will be posted on the N2 website in due course.
Well, almost on the same subject, there is an article which is headed up Children's Book Swap Taking Over London. And it says, over 40 venues across London will be celebrating Discover London's Children Book Swap 7th birthday on Saturday, February the 10th. And across London, all venues' doors will be open to anyone wanting to recycle children's books and give the children a new book to read, an old book to your closest London children's book swap. Thousands of books will be swapped in an action-packed day of free activities over 40 venues across 15 London boroughs. As far as we are concerned, a book swap will take place at 40 Hall in Enfield on Saturday, February the 10th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. So again, I say it will be happening at 40 Hall on February the 10th from 12 o'clock until 3 o'clock. And if you want to know more about this, do contact Sophie Waddy at Discover Children's Story Centre. Her telephone number is 020 8536 5568. And really, if you've got some children's books that can be swapped or you'd like to donate, do contact Sophie. I'll give you the number again, 020 8536 5568.
We have reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Joan, Geoffrey, Kitty and Colin and Robin on the controls, it's goodbye.
Bye.
Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the memory stick into the packet in a closed position and return it to us as soon as possible in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget, you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper on 020 8805 6578. Coming up next, the latest news and information for the Greater London area from Infrasound. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.